of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 4 members present, so we do have a quorum. And has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
And I'll say that each time I read them, I appreciate Marcellus's detail
Thank you.
he puts
Thank
into
you,
our
thank
meeting minutes. So
You're very welcome.
I need to watch what I say, I guess. So
I try not to do too many direct quotes.
if everybody's had a
Fine.
chance to read those, and we need a
Yes.
motion to approve. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving last meeting's minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay, are there any agenda considerations?
Oh, before that, since it's the first meeting of the year, we have to do the officer elections, president, vice president.
No, we have 2
Secretary.
here. I suggest we make that president.
That's it.
Frank would have. Okay, the president and vice president, so we'll open the floor for nomination for president.
I nominate Don Gray as president.
I nominate Gene Doctor for president. Any other nominations? A motion to close the nominations.
I motion we close the nominations.
Second.
I second that.
Okay, so moved. All those in favor of Don Gray being president, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Wait. All those opposed? Aye. All those in favor of Gene being president, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. You know, I keep being president of this thing, it's gonna become an anarchy.
You're doing great.
All right, we need nominations for vice president.
Let me see.
I nominate Gene Doctor as vice president.
Any other nominations?
No. No.
All right, make a motion to close the nominations.
Make a motion to close the nominations.
Second,
I second.
any discussion? So moved. All those in favor of Gene being vice president signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Gene is vice president. 4 more years.
And then also, I forgot to put it on here, but also secretary.
Okay, we need a nomination for secretary. I'll
Which-
nominate Marcellus.
Figured.
Second that nomination.
Okay, any other nominations? Nominations are closed. All those in favor of Marcellus signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Now, when the other 2 show up when I'm telling their president. All right, we will get the adoption in. Okay, agenda considerations, there are none at this time. Do we have any comments from the public on items not on the agenda? All righty. Okay. New business, item number 1. Going down here, there is no item number 2. Okay, number one is the discussion of the Thorntown UDO. Okay. Deb and Marcellus have taken a lot of time, because we actually started discussing this about a year ago, about when Marcellus came on board shortly after that. Just to update our ordinances and things like that. Some of them were outdated. It's like the old, you have to walk through town in front of your horse carrying a lantern type thing. We didn't have that one, but that does exist somewhere here in Indiana.
I did.
Oh, okay. But, and they've put them in very, very simple language, which myself, I appreciated quite a bit. And there are 10 chapters to it. Is this on the website? Okay.
Yeah. Put it on the
So
website.
I'm assuming those of you that are here tonight, it's not, what's the meeting where?
The public hearing.
Yeah, this is not a public hearing,
Right.
so we don't have to have a motion to open a public hearing. It's just a discussion for the public out there to ask questions, and keeping in mind that some of these are also dictated by the state.
Mhm.
And we don't have a say in that. We just have to do what they tell us down at that big building in Indy. That's our. Am I looking at the minutes? Okay, those are the minutes. I'm on the wrong page. Okay, here we go. That's right. And do you have them to put up there?
I do have them to put up, but I'm going to go through a presentation first, and then if there are any specific questions about any of the chapters, we can talk about those, or we can talk about any other general questions that people might have. So this is an introduction to the new Thorntown UDO. Oh no.
And just let everybody know what UDO stands for.
Yes. So UDO is Unified Development Ordinance, which is actually what the next slide is going to be about. So this is actually just a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about today. Let's start with what is a UDO. So as I just said, it stands for Unified Development Ordinance. It's called Unified because it brings together the various development ordinances that towns usually adopt, such as subdivision, flood hazard area, construction, site development, zoning. This particular ordinance is only deals with subdivisions, and the construction and site development and zoning. Flood hazard area is not included in what Deb and I have written and are proposing. And so the point of doing this is it collects all the regulations into one place, so it's easier for the administrators who are trying to use the code, and it's easier for you all as residents who are trying to follow the code to find the things that you need to do to stay in compliance. And so this one that we're proposing replaces provisions from at least 5 different chapters. And so that kind of points to the importance of having this be this Unified Development Ordinance. Otherwise you're having to hunt through a bunch of different sections of the code to find what you need to do. So this UDO, as Dawn said, is broken down into 10 chapters. The gray chapters up here are kind of the high level kind of stuff, like the introductory provisions. This is stuff that is not maybe of particular interest to most residents, but certainly the definitions would be of good help for a lot of people. The ones identified in blue are the zoning and site development standard chapters. So that's where you're going to go if you want to know do I need a permit to build a fence? That'll be in chapter 3, I believe. And, can I use, what is my property zoned as and what can I build in that district? You go to chapter 2 for that. The green chapters there are the ones that have to do with the procedures and the processes that you have to follow when you're applying for a permit or for a variance or any of those kind of processes. And then those purple chapters there are the subdivision chapters. So that's if you've got a big parcel of land and you want to break it up into a bunch of smaller pieces. One big change kind of going forward with this new version of the UDO is we're trying to go for something that is easier to read, easier to approach visually. So a lot of the standards are presented in these tables that'll hopefully be easier to read than a huge wall of text as they are now. And then we have flowcharts and diagrams to kind of help, again, visually explain the processes and some of the standards. So I'll look at some changes from the current ordinance. So right now, Thorntown's current ordinances only have 2 zoning districts, which the main problem is that, in particular with the business district, is that it puts everything that's not residential into a single district, and also it currently has no standards. So something that's light industrial, something that's commercial, something that's civic is all going to be in the same district. And because there's no standards, it's harder for the town to get for example, a light industrial use like a warehouse or some kind of freight terminal from it. We have no teeth to get them to do the kinds of things that are going to make that development more palatable to the town. That's a harder lift there. What we're proposing is these 6 main districts, as well as PUDs, are also allowed currently and will be allowed in this new UDO. So we have a residential district, which is the same as the current one for the most part. There's a few changes to some of the specific standards, but we've added this high density residential as well, which is intended more for tiny homes, mobile home parks, and as well as some denser apartment kind of constructions. I think the residential district allows 1 and 2 family. And so the high density residential allows you to go a little bit more than that. We've retained the business district, which is we've repurposed for low density commercial and office type uses, as well as some institutional and commercial uses. And we've added now this downtown business district that is intended for this part of town that we're in now. So shops closer together, maybe not as much space on the property for parking, as well as allowing residential upstairs in a multi-story building. And then we've added this public and community district, which is intended largely for any of the town's facilities, as well as recreation and educational uses. So parks, schools, and places of worship as well. And then finally, we've added this light industrial district, which is intended for light manufacturing, warehousing, and auto-oriented uses. The main place where standards are changing is with that residential district. So we've reduced the minimum dwelling size from 1,200 square feet to 900 per unit. We've also increased the maximum lot coverage and reduced the minimum rear setback from, I believe it was 20 before,
Do you have,
to 10.
do you have the original where it's marked up?
I
want to
do.
make sure everyone's clear on what changed.
I do.
I'm going to point at those numbers because that's anything that changes is a big.
Yeah.
This is, I think those are the changes I have right there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So just for clarity, the values that change, see the 900s, those used to be 1200. Okay? Lot width of 75 feet used to be 100 feet. Does everyone see that? I'm pointing at, if anyone has any questions, shout it out. Minimum lot area, you see that 3,000 square foot? Used to be 4,500 square feet, so it's gotten smaller. Setbacks. The 10 feet value used to be 20. The 5 feet value used to be 10. So it used to be 20, now they're 10. Used to be 10, now they're 5. And maximum impervious surface coverage, so not having a solid ground so water can have a cushion, right? You want it porous so we don't have big floods when it rains. That value used to be, well, it looks like it was 55 and 65%. Now it's 50%. And that was 45%, now it's 50%. So those are the values that changed. 900 to 1200, I'm sorry, 1200 to 900, 100 to 75, 3000 to 4500, 20, I'm sorry, from 20 to 10, and 10 to 5. And it looks like here we used to have 65%. Now it's 50%.
So that would be a change from the original
Right.
that was originally scripted.
Yes. All the other districts basically have all new standards because for the new ones, they're new, so there was nothing to change. And then for business, there was no standards, so we added some for that district. And you can see there at the kind of bottom of the table, there's that additional site development standards section. And so within Chapter 3, you can go through and find, the accessory structure standards, the storage standards, driveway and access management standards.
Are you talking about the accessory standard where it can't be higher? That one, that was added in there.
Yeah, I'm talking about, yeah.
So here at the small, it says accessory structures cannot exceed the height of the primary structure. So if you had a garage that was higher than your house, that would be a no-go.
Right. Also made a few changes to the zoning and subdivision procedures. We tried to sort of modernize them and streamline them a little bit so that you don't need, one of the concerns, for example, is a lot of the processes involved having to come to town hall, which when we join the APC, that'll mean having to go to Lebanon. And obviously that's not super desirable. So,
So can we pause on that? Does everyone understand what he's talking about in regards to going to Lebanon now? Does anyone not understand? Just make sure we're on the same page. Okay.
right. Thank you.
No worries.
So a lot of those processes now can be done remotely, over the phone, by email, simplify that process a lot. And like I mentioned earlier, we've added these flow charts to kind of help visually explain the process. We think that'll make it easier for you all as the public to understand the process that your application is going to be going through. And it also helps clarify for the administrator, for the BZA or the Plan Commission who is going to be hearing the case, what the steps they need to be taking are for this procedure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about transitioning to this new UDO once it's adopted. So, what happens to permitted projects that are under construction, applications that have been filed but not decided, and other in-process cases?
I'm sorry, can we go back just a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Does everyone understand where we're headed at this point in regards to the standard, the new ordinance? So previous ordinance is being updated and the values we're pointing out were changed, and a lot of the holes that have gotten filled, there just wasn't anything there previously. So it was willy-nilly. Now there's actually something there to, tell you, hey, this is what makes sense.
Yes.
So that was the whole intent, to modernize it, because it was lacking, and I don't think it's been updated for a very, very long time. So everyone's good on so far? Thank you.
Okay. So applications are processed according to the rules and procedures that were in place at the time of their filing. So if an application is filed before this ordinance is adopted, then it'll be processed and looked at using the old standards. Any building permits or improvement location permits, ILPs and BPs that have been issued will be unaffected by the change and can be renewed with the provisions in place when they were first granted. So if you've already got a permit and you started construction on your house, you don't have to worry about anything changing. You've already been approved, you're set to go. Any approved primary plats will be unaffected by the change as well, and standards in the place at the time of the primary plat approval will apply to the secondary plat or plats. And then any conditions and commitments granted as part of the Plan Commission, Town Council, and or BZA decisions, or as part of approval for an improvement location permit or building permit, it should be BP, not BLP, will remain in effect. The only caveat to that is if the condition or commitment, in one case that we've had recently, where because the zoning district didn't have any standards and the commitments were intended to create standards, commitments can't take the place of a variance, right, Deb? And so those new standards would then sort of override those conditions or that commitment, and would still require the applicant to get a variance instead of relying on those commitments. But in any other sort of case, condition or commitment would still apply. Okay, and so now we talk about nonconformances. A nonconformance occurs when property is developed in a way that does not meet the standards contained in the UDO. One way this happens is when the zoning ordinance changes and introduces standards that existing lots, structures, and uses do not meet. So legal nonconformances may continue indefinitely, but they are not to expand or be altered in ways that increase their nonconformity. So if you have a home or a business that doesn't meet the new standards, that's okay as long as you don't, as long as you aren't seeking to make any alterations or renovations or any expansions. Once you do want to do that, you have to bring your property in compliance with the standards in order to get that building permit approval.
Or apply for a variance.
Or apply for a variance. It's always an option. This is not intended to prevent any repairs to non-conforming structures. So if your building is damaged or if it's condemned, this won't stop you from being able to get a permit to bring it up to back to a safe, habitable condition. Non-conforming residential structures that have been damaged or destroyed can be rebuilt as long as their footprint is the same. But for non-residential structures, if more than 50% of the assessed value is destroyed, it must be rebuilt according to the new standards. So this protects homes more than it does businesses, but that's kind of by design. We don't want to put anybody out if their home has been damaged or destroyed. We want people to be able to build back as fast as possible in that sort of situation. And then, of course, if the nonconformance on your property is the result of a variance or a special exception that you've already received, this doesn't really apply because those procedures have sort of legally granted you the right to have that nonconformance. Okay, so sort of next steps in this process. Tonight we'll be working on finalizing the draft of the new map, zoning map. So that'll be after this presentation. And then 2 weeks from now, on the 26th, we'll be having the public hearing here at the Plan Commission to consider giving a favorable recommendation for the adoption of the ordinance to the Town Council. And then on February 2nd will be the next Town Council meeting after that public hearing, at which point Town Council will consider the adoption of the ordinance per Indiana code. So lastly, if you want to look at any of the standards in greater detail or read anything, if you want to read any of the proposed chapters in greater detail, you can find them at this link, townofthorntown.com, /Thorntown UDO 2026. And of course, you can always contact me at that number or at planning@thorntown.indiana.gov with any questions. But since you have me here, I can answer any questions now.
Allie, are you wanting to say something?
Well, I had a couple of questions. For anything that's not a state standard, was this all pulled from data and best practices of like other communities? And so if anybody has questions about why there's something that's specifically been included, can I just tell them to ask you and you'll have the data on why that information was, okay.
Sure.
And then, so if somebody has an active building permit and no changes are made prior to the adoption of the UDO, then they're fine. But if they make a change after the adoption, they would have to start back over and then it would fall under the UDO, correct?
If they needed to apply for a new building permit for any reason,
Okay.
now the exception to that would be building permits, I think, currently last for a year or something like that. And so if you needed an extension on your permit, that would still be allowed under the old standards.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, but if you were seeking a new permit because you had changes from what had originally been approved, now you need to meet the standards.
Okay. That's okay. Thank you.
Yes.
You're saying 1 year on the building permit. I'm assuming that's new construction, or is that any construction?
That would be for any construction. You can always request a extension if a year is not long enough for you to complete your project. I think we want most things to be done as quickly as possible, and so having that sort of short timeline encourages people to make sure that process is moving as quickly as possible.
Because that's one of the things we've been talking about is, so people are doing stuff and like roof's taking 3 years to complete. So we need something that we can use to leverage that.
Yeah, I think
Once they receive their permit, they have 365 days
right
to complete it.
And then if they don't complete it, like I said, they'll either need to get an extension or they need to get a new building permit.
Okay. is there a point where you're just done?
Where you're just done.
We've drug it out way too long, and, I mean, I haven't seen that, I'm just asking.
I don't think I don't think the code says anything on that, but I think that would be up to the discretion of the building inspector at some point. They, why is this taking so long? What's happening?
Typically, as long as you've started construction and you've initiated that momentum forward, they're gonna work with you to make sure, you're completing that permit, even if it takes more time. If
Right.
you've pulled the permit and you haven't done anything from day one, they're not gonna be as generous with extending that permit time. And we know sometimes, maybe you're building because you have some water damage and you're waiting on that insurance check to come in. You can't control the timing of that check, so we want to work with you to do that.
So what I hear is it's basically at the discretion of the building inspector in regards to how he's going to treat each situation. If he identifies that the customer is abusing the process
Exactly.
versus, no, it's legitimate and there are some legitimate challenges he's ran into and this is what they are. and we'll work with them.
Right.
Where did the change from 1,200 square feet to 900 come from and why?
The national trend is to move towards allowing smaller dwelling units. By reducing the minimum, it's not saying every new home now is only 900 square feet. It still allows the larger homes, but it lets the market dictate where that falls.
What's the state's?
There is none.
I thought the state had 1,200 square feet.
Nope. Nope, the state has no minimum. It just says you have to have kitchen facilities, bathroom, and sleeping facilities. It doesn't say a square footage. So as long as you have those, we're saying you can go as small as 900 square feet if you need to. If you want to build larger, you're totally welcome to. So it makes it more attainable to provide a variety of housing types in your community instead of locking you into just.
It's to the right, it's to open, to allow more homes.
Yes, so by lowering that square footage, lowering the minimum lot size, if you have some empty lots, it maybe allows somebody to build that couldn't have afforded
before.
to build before.
I mean, a 30 by 30 structure is 900 square feet. That's a pretty good sized structure for the living quarters. No garage attached to it.
Yeah, we don't
Of course,
count the garage in that.
Yeah, you don't count the garage in that, but a 30 by 30 structure, you can have 2 to 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room. You're not gonna have a dining room, a video room. So it's, people hear 900 and they think it's small, and it's not that small.
The other question I got, I couldn't read those figures on the setbacks and all that.
Did you bring that back up for him?
What's the setback, what's the side setback on property?
Currently and in the new ordinance, it'll be 5 feet for the side setbacks.
What's the rear setback?
The rear currently is 20.
The
And-
rear, I thought it was 10.
No, currently.
Currently it's 20. The proposed is 10.
From the back?
Yes.
That was that when I
That's
went up
the
there.
rear yard setback.
10 for the
Single
primary
family.
and 5 for an
And 5
accessory.
for the accessory, right?
What's the front?
Front setback is 20.
Now, if you're a corner lot,
You don't,
2 sides are
right,
20. It's your 2 sides on the street are both 20.
correct.
So then that means the other 2 are sides, which would have to be
5.
5. I mean,
From my understanding, the back has been 10 all along, because that's what we determined that a long time ago.
yeah, I thought it was 2.
That's not what the
But it's now.
file we had
It will be
was,
now.
but it will be now.
Yeah, it will be now.
I thought it was 10 and 7 is what it used to be.
So that 10 leaves room for utilities and for utility contractors and such
Mhm.
to be able to get in and do their work.
Right.
Deb, the other communities Are they matching the same as far as the square footage and setbacks?
Pretty much, yeah.
So that would be, go for the same as Lebanon, Whitestown?
I don't know about Whitestown, but I know like Jamestown.
Jamestown.
So towns similar to your size, yes.
Sheridan.
Yeah, I've written several small town ordinances lately, and while their numbers fluctuate a little bit, they're pretty close to this. So, some of them go a lot smaller on that minimum lot area for your main residential district. They'll go down to 4,500 square feet for a single family residence, only because their existing lots are that big. So this minimizes a lot of variances needed for a smaller lot that happens to exist. It brings it closer to what's currently on the ground right now. And that 3,000 square foot you see for two-family and multifamily, keep in mind that's per unit.
Right.
So if you have a duplex, the duplex has to sit on a 6,000 square foot lot. If you have a triplex, 9,000 square foot lot, so.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So on the building height,
Mhm.
It can't exceed the peak of your home.
Correct.
So I do not like that. And what I mean by that is, so like me, I can go build a barn behind my house and I can have 16, 18-foot sidewalk. That's awfully unfair to my single-story neighbor who now has to look at that big wall of my barn. I think the town needs a set height where it can't exceed it unless you've got a really good reason.
So
we're not out in the country anymore. We're in town with immediate neighbors. You see where I'm coming from?
yeah, so there is a maximum height, as well as, so for an accessory structure, the maximum height there for single family and for two family and multiple family is 25 feet. And for a non-residential use in this district, it's 20. So what that means is basically you have these two standards and it's whichever one limits you more. So if you have a really tall building, we don't want you to be able to build all the way up that high. And so that 25-foot limit comes in. But if you have a really small building, we don't want your accessory building to be taller than the primary building. That just kind of confuses the hierarchy there of the buildings. And so you're limited to the height of that smaller building. So that's the way it's written. I mean, that number can go down if that's what you wanted to do, but there is that max height on accessory
Well,
units.
So the max height, that's the peak of the building. I just feel like it's very discriminative to somebody that lives in a ranch home versus my big monstrosity 2-story. You know, I mean, because Thorntown has lots of big old 2-story homes.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has a lot of single level homes. And I think a lot of the homes that may replace old homes in this town will probably be single story as well. And I don't know. I mean, I realize they can get a variance.
So are you suggesting you put a maximum height on the structures for
No,
residential?
I definitely believe there should be a maximum height in town. I'm real good with the 25 foot.
Okay.
I'm real.
You're just saying maximum height in town, period.
Well, no, what I'm saying is so I can build a barn behind my house with a 25-foot peak. But Dave, he lives in a ranch home, so he can't build one with a 25-foot peak. And I think that is really out of line.
Oh, I got you. So okay.
It should just be a maximum 25 foot.
I think it ought to.
It is a max 25 foot for the accessory structure though.
No, but
I guess I'm still missing it.
that bottom provision there also kicks in. There's two factors limiting the height of an accessory structure. You have that maximum height of 25 feet, but you also have the height of the primary structure.
So
Right.
basically, smaller structures can have smaller accessory structures.
Mhm.
Larger primary structures can have larger accessory structures. Just as long as the accessory structure is
No higher.
paired with the primary.
Anybody that's gonna build has to produce plans. I think it ought to be some way worded that it depends on the plans, and then if the plans exceed the 25 feet, then they're gonna have to apply for a variance and show why they want it. But it should, I agree with the 25 feet, but I think it should also depend on the plans for the structure, because it could depend on where that structure was going to be built, how big of a lot that was there, and it may be that the structure could be higher than the peak of the house.
Marcellus, I'm still not seeing. Right here, you've got the maximum height of the structure limited to 25 feet for an accessory
Yes.
structure. When does this come in? And then the maximum height of my primary structure is still 35 feet.
See, the
But so how am I going to be any higher than 25 feet if my primary structure
Won't.
maximum height?
maximum is 25, but your limit could be lower if your home.
If your house is shorter.
If your house is only 60.
So if your house is 35
Yes.
feet tall, then you can hit that 25-foot limit.
I don't need.
But if your house is only 20 feet tall, you can't hit that 25-foot limit.
So your maximum is 20 feet.
Your maximum is whatever the height of your house is.
Right.
Up to 25 feet. That's the way to think about it.
Right, so if I have a large home,
I don't need a house
but then
25 foot high. I need one I live in.
so the issue I'm taking with what you're saying is I'm allowing the neighbor to determine the height of my property, my item on my property. The neighbor's
Your
house,
house
right?
determines, your own house
Your
determines.
No, that's what I heard you say, is that if I'm putting a tall house next to a house that's smaller, it's going to look odd. Therefore, the default is I'm allowing my neighbor's structural height to determine the height on my property.
No.
That's what I read.
No.
No, that's
so-
what, that's what you said.
So this is my house, this is your house, okay? I can build a barn, peak up here is 25 foot. You can't, yours can only be this high. So what I'm saying is if this house can build this house should be able to build that. I'm great with the 25 maximum foot height. I would be even okay with something lower in town.
You can say that, okay, if you live in town, why would you want a structure that big? Somewhere along the lines,
Right.
So that's from a visual perspective. So what's the logic behind the limitation to make sure your primary structure is taller than your accessory structure?
So that accessory structure doesn't dwarf the primary.
Right.
The primary always acts as the primary.
Right. So what I hear everyone saying is they don't want that to be the case.
They want everybody to be able to have a 25-foot accessory structure regardless of how big their home is.
That has 2 8-foot walls, you're not gonna do it on 25 feet.
I'm not saying we should change that. I just don't think that if somebody comes looking, saying, hey, my neighbor's got this 25-foot barn, there should not be any struggle for that person to have a 25-foot barn as well, in my opinion.
If they got room.
But there are additional standards in chapter 3 that try to keep that accessory structure proportional to the primary. So I think it says something like your accessory structures can't be more than 50% of the footprint of your home. I know when you get out in the rural parts of the county, you'll see the home, but then you'll see these giant pole barns. And
Yeah, it's different.
that doesn't work inside town
Right.
limits to have the giant structure next to the tiny home. It also invites opportunity for businesses to be run without approvals, storage of stuff without approvals. We want these to act in a residential fashion. But if for simplicity, you just want to put a cap of 20 feet on all accessory structures, and not worry about how big the primary is in height, that's totally doable too, if that's what the community wants.
Because 25 foot, that's a pretty big building. That's way up there.
Especially if you don't have much of a
I
slope
mean,
on the
you
roof.
get a motor home or a camper stored in there pretty easily.
I mean, I think we have quite a bit of instances in town where we actually have the accessory structure higher than the house. I mean, that happens everywhere, not everywhere, but it's, so it comes down to a visual, it comes down to managing what people do.
Yeah.
This is like the tallest building.
And it's not.
Or low pitch, seeing how wide it was.
Yeah.
It could be a low pitch roof. Yeah, it's very much.
I don't want people telling me what I can't do anywhere I live.
Yeah.
I know.
But at the same time, if I put 100-foot tall structure in, exaggerating, it starts to become an eyesore, right? It's the same idea with, we don't want, you want small homes, we want to increase the square footage, so we limit the homes.
Where he lives, he wanted to build a tower out away from his house, put his telescope in so he can get above all the white noise. And building inspector says it can't be taller than your house. He goes, so if I attach it to the house, that's okay? And the building inspector, yeah. He didn't do it.
Well, it's under a
makes
different
no-
building code too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That makes no sense. I can see you're doing it.
I know people say things don't make sense, but they do make sense if you frame it properly. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes, it does.
So basically, it's a way to, it's like an anti-monotony clause, right, in the UDO. The houses can't all look the same because it looks gross, right? So you come into a community and everyone's got a big barn and a small house. Let's just, or a big structure in a small house, is that attractive looking?
Also keep in mind, that you got your property, your source of structure.
Right, so the indication that you have enough property to build a structure that high too.
Where Randy does.
I mean, my recommendation, I'm thinking just leave it and then request a variance. And then that gives you that additional review to see if it looks like a freaking eyesore, but it goes back to me saying, I don't like people telling me what I can and can't do on my little piece of property. Right? I mean, no one likes to hear anyone tell them they can't do something.
And this town has those amenities. If you go down Plum Street on the other side of West, go past Zoom, okay, and about 2 lots down, I bought a bicycle from this guy, right? Anyways, he's got this good size, tall,
Because it's not.
and I forget his name. But anyways, he lives in a modular, but therefore his barn is small by all standards.
500 square feet.
Could you put
It's taller than anything else within that running block.
require larger setbacks for other structures that would be taller than the primary? Smaller in town.
Isn't there, in the IBC, don't they dictate I'm thinking of business. Never mind. I'm thinking of commercial structure, because you do have to have a setback from the next structure on the property. So you don't have the issue where the building falls on top of somebody
That
else.
still applies. I think it's at least 5 feet from an existing structure.
Or you don't have properties here like on a third of an acre that have, you know.
Right.
A huge house or a small house, a huge building. But out where you have 3 acres, you can do that. If you have a larger setback.
And when it's something that could be changed in the future. If you're finding out, hey, we didn't think it'd be a problem, but it is becoming a problem. We've got so many variances. Let's change it to make it work better. But we have to have some type of
Yeah.
starting point.
Get a starting point and
There's always the variance. That's always the catch-all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where you go to present your argument or your perspective that, hey, it's not going to look atrocious. This is the drawing.
But in town properties, they're not gonna be big enough to handle the secondary structure that's huge.
Most of the.
It won't meet your setback.
Right, exactly. There was a guy back here, he's got like 4.
Thanks for letting me flesh that out with her. I wanted to make 100% sure I understood what you were talking about.
Don't get me wrong, I totally understand.
No,
I get all that. It all makes sense.
that's what this is all about.
Yep.
Somebody's gonna see something that we don't see.
There's 2 places in this town, I'm not gonna mention them, but somebody has to look at the back of this great big barn. I feel like barns belong out in the country. Big barns.
How old is it?
One would be less than, I guess one is now maybe 15 years old. The other one, I don't have an idea. It's older than that. I'm just saying, hey, I buy this house, and I can see this and I can see that. Now all of a sudden I got somebody building this big monstrosity. I just don't think in the city limits that's a fair playing field to your neighbors. I mean, but don't get me wrong, because I'd like to build a new barn at my place.
Before the APC was formed, there was a pole barn built over by Front Street that it's right up against the sidewalk.
That may be one that I'm talking about. Is it quite large? Height-wise?
Yeah, there's a door there, but you can't, it's elevated, you can't get anything in the door. Because it's up off the ground, but it's right up against the sidewalk. Because there was like a stone fence or something, stone retaining wall there, and it's on top of the retaining wall.
Yeah.
So what's the worst situation in all this?
Someone, boy,
Well,
one of my jobs was always to find all the holes and do minimal, absolute minimal, and push the limit on every rule and regulation. So that is your worst case scenario. Someone will see that and push the limit on absolutely everything.
and that's what, Randy brought up some good points.
I mean, that's it. Boy, okay. So the other perspective I heard is, building big barns in town and, like you said, staring at the backs. Okay. But then we start to get into the ratio on the property and how much impervious coverage that would be the escape clause, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because you only have X amount of square footage and you just can't build on 100% of all your property.
True.
So the only way that it could happen on a big scale would be if people bought blocks of property, 2 properties, they would do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have 2 properties,
You have more square
you
footage.
can treat it as one when you build.
You'd have to
Yeah.
legally combine the
have to
lots.
combine.
Yeah,
There's steps.
You would.
So I have 2 lots side by side.
So do I.
You're the guy.
And so to the north of me, there's an alley that goes between my property and the neighbor to the north. The neighbor to the north, she's one of them. The other neighbor behind her lives in a ranch. So I'm just saying, if I build, I follow your code to the T, but I could build this fairly big barn, and that's what they're gonna look at out their back window, which, I guess that's the breaks, but, no matter how tall it is, they would have to look at it.
And you would be okay with someone telling you, no, you can't build that on this property? Following the rules. So we're gonna go to the emotional side. How would that make you feel, right? You're limited on what you
Oh,
can do.
trust me. You can ask anybody how I feel about you telling me what I can do with my land. I pay the mortgage, I pay the taxes, I take care of it. Sit down and shut up, and there's nothing pisses me off more than my neighbor being allowed to tell me and control
Heard.
what. That's
I'm,
happened, that has
I'm right
happened to
with
me
you.
out in the country on my farm. I can't even have a security light out there unless I have a boot on it. Well, you might as well not even have one at that point. But yet, this neighbor has a security light that the whole sky is pink. The one that actually brought the claim forward and remonstrated has 2 security lights. And then the other one to the south of me has a security light. I mean, it's ridiculous. Some of the stuff that people get to say is out of line. But
I mean,
at the
it's,
same time, I
Yeah.
respect my neighbors. You know,
we all need to get along.
Yeah,
If you live in
exactly.
town, you need to get along with your
Right.
neighbors. I'm sorry. That's kind of the rule, the unwritten rule that if you move into town, that's kind of like what has to happen.
Sure.
Unless you move into the country, in which case you don't have to get along with anybody if you don't want to.
Well,
Okay.
it's not better if you get along with them.
Well, of course, right?
True.
Now,
So-
in terms of the footprint of that barn coming in, making use of 5 foot one way and 10 foot the other way and all that, in a non-code viewpoint, I'm just saying that in the geometry of it, you might have your 5 foot here and your 25 foot there. Start right here, go 5 foot, go 25 foot. In a pure sense, it's like 5 and 25, that's 30. Okay, if it's judged to be ugly, like you're talking about, then some people would view it like, well, let's go 10 and let's shorten that building. And I think maybe somebody here had thrown out a general thought about that, which sounds like a variance,
Mhm.
is what it almost sounds like.
Yeah.
But it'd have to be an agreed upon range of measurements.
Well, when you do a variance, all the neighbors come in, they get letters. This is,
Yeah.
and the expectation is there's going to be a good enough representation of what the customer's going to
They're
do.
allowed to come in, but some of them choose not to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
can't do anything about that.
True.
So, but they're at least informed and then they have the availability to look at it and go, oh my gosh, that looks awful. I don't want to look at that. Please don't change it. Right? And in which case, I'm sure yeah, okay, that's your neighbor.
It's numbers. But it's also that you live there, you stand there and you look at it.
Yeah. I only brought it up just for.
No,
some
no,
kind
No,
of
it's okay.
equality.
no, that's a,
That's what this is for.
That's what it's
yeah,
for.
okay.
Ready to move on, Marcelo?
Are there any more questions at this time? No? All right. Then we're ready to move on to the next item.
On the agenda?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, that I'll pull up there. Okay. That was item 1. Item 2 is workshop on new zoning map.
So I have it in print and digitally because I thought,
Is that the print right there you have all that?
yeah, this is the print right here. Because I thought maybe if any of you all had changes you wanted to make or suggest, I brought trace paper here so we can roll over that physical map and you can draw on whatever changes you wanted to make. But essentially, I made a first pass at locating all the new zoning districts. It's the same draw image, just without the overlay. In case that ends up being easier.
What if we, put it on the floor and then people can actually walk around it when they work? You guys want to get up and look at this?
Or do we have, is that folding table still? I'll grab it.
Did you have a good holiday?
Did you go home?
I was saying, good. With the schools.
Keep in mind when the zoning map was first made and people were coming in, we didn't have a business district technically in a residential district.
Yeah, keep this over here. So you can see where it's at.
I'm trying to get more, yeah, oh, there we go.
You want north
North. And people just put businesses in and all this, and then we've tried, the map's been trying to. So that's why you're gonna have some of these businesses are all spread out to the area. And, somebody goes, oh, wow, let's convert this house into a business,
Come on up,
and business, and
Come on up, guys, come on up.
Basically, this first pass is based on what is currently on a lot of these properties. We don't want to immediately zone somebody into a zoning district that they're not supposed to be in. So I tried to, as either like looking at the satellite view or looking at the county records to see what the use of the property was, tried to match it up that way. And then I placed the high density residential where there was already mobile homes or, yeah.
So the key, can you go over the colors with everybody?
Yeah.
Have a whiteboard too.
So
Oh, here we go.
the lighter yellow or the brighter yellow is the residential district, which is we kind of use as the this is not quite it actually.
It's not, okay,
No, this
sorry.
is because this is the future land use map,
Okay.
which also kind of helped drive this. But yeah, so the brighter yellow is the residential district, which we're kind of treating as the default district since most of the town has already zoned that. The darker yellow is high density residential. Then you have business in pink, downtown business in red. The public and community is blue, and then the purple is light industrial.
Where's the museum?
The museum, I believe, is on Main Street.
you see, yeah,
It'll be easier to see.
Railway 75 is right here, this is.
You gotta get it there. If you're looking, you gotta get it there.
There's 47, so it's right here.
Here's the school.
Here, across the street. And then this is, funeral home, and then this is. Here, we are here.
That's all.
Yes.
Considered.
Yeah, that's.
So right here, all of this, you can see the color, and then you got the business district, which is probably end right here.
Right there underneath your fingers.
Yeah, the building right across the street would be the.
We are actually right here.
Dennis is out there and.
There's the church and the museum across the street. But we're right here.
All the downtown, it goes down.
Yeah. And then this is the co-op.
That's Dustin.
I live in between here and your museum. There's two houses between.
That might be two, that might.
See right here, great.
That can't be.
This is serious.
Upside down to me, but.
There's the school.
Oh.
Okay, there's the end.
Hold on. Yeah, the monitor went to sleep. Come on, baby. There we go.
Yeah, this is the one that goes in front of the school. This goes in front of the school. Is this mill? No, this is the mill.
I think it's just.
Grant.
So boom. Because there's two, that's what, is that your white rise?
Yes.
Could be a surround parking.
And that's residential.
Y'all gonna move it up so you guys can see this. Hold on.
The one hanging up in the other room.
Is that helpful?
Of course.
Okay, so if someone comes in, like, use this.
Just enlarge it.
Yeah, I made it full screen so they can get their perspective.
That cut it in two. I pay $2 more taxes.
For a district that's already.
So here we go.
Fall under
We're saying-
the
we're saying-
9.5 PDO.
So this
Because
is
of
the.
their time frame established.
Well,
I don't know.
When it was first constructed,
Is
this is
there-
the standards would go by.
there's,
Okay.
So if they have a complaint, we're gonna look at the
I
old
think
standards and say,
museums
well, it met the old standards, we can't do anything.
Okay. so
If
it's
they
just like a
decide
building.
to knock the building down and
This is, yeah,
rebuild,
this is the street.
now you fall under the new standards.
Oh,
okay.
Then
there's
houses.
houses.
All the same.
That's
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the goal is to have a transition. We don't wanna penalize anybody who did it right the first time, even though it's different now.
Okay, that sounds good.
There's not very many lots left.
Yeah.
And when you join the area plan commission, their staff is amazing and they're gonna try to give you the benefit of the doubt every time. So, but if you did something illegally in the past, this ordinance doesn't make it legit. You know, if you didn't pull permits for a structure and now you want to enlarge it,
Yeah.
we're gonna say, let's get you a permitted for the original structure and your additional simultaneously.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Nobody's found the bullet hole
Yep,
And it'd be, okay.
talk about.
because you're either legal
You know, I looked at that.
non-compliance,
I've been
meaning
there.
it used to be permitted, but it is now, or illegal, meaning it wasn't allowed then and it's not allowed now.
Okay.
A lot of times that comes in with signs, like if you put up a sign without permission,
Looks like, yeah.
you don't get the benefit of being grandfathered in because you were never grandfathered in, you just Oh, yeah.
Just
Well,
when they bought the.
in the future, you just say,
When they bought the
you
barn
need to
behind
call Nicole at the
Okay.
county and she'll
Says
take
come
care
over
of
and just-
it. She'll field it for you.
What?
Generous
That will be your nice
I
out.
mean, no
Yes,
one's ever-
We'll have to answer this
Here they
question.
had.
When we grew up, that was our clubhouse. Downstairs was garage, and then there was a stairway going upstairs. We used to ride bicycles up there. and then-
Yeah, because there's more than just residential
In the-
business.
In the garage, in the barn back there.
Barn, barn,
There
barn.
is some.
Yeah.
Spencer owned the whole
No, no, and especially coming out
After I was out of high school.
downtown looks.
And I think whoever
We want people to be able to build.
lived
Buildings,
my house.
sidewalks, yeah, all that.
Yeah.
That's your own and all that.
Oh, but then they donated
I'm
it
just
to.
sad because
And they, Melbourne Spencer was the queen back when they used to have Chautauquas out here off of 47. He was the queen of Chautauqua out there. There's a picture of her out there somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Tried to go Jamestown, the area plan commission back there.
There it was a hardware.
Yeah.
When I grew up, you could buy
5 years later, they called
You
me
could buy
as
a
a
little box, 22 shells for about a quarter.
You actually gave me my hour.
These days are long gone.
I said I'd be doing it for free.
Okay. And it's two separate things, yes.
Yeah. It's just, it
Okay,
comes
well-
full circle, it's just funny.
We're with the historical society. And so what I'm saying is you go in on the main floor
Yeah.
and you can see where it looked like two doors that would open up so you could lift things up.
I would be one big we decided to make it more interesting. We would ride bicycles.
See this one that
So we opened the big one.
Okay.
We rode around there and
Go below
go.
our.
It's all secured, it's saying there's no pivot
I
on
wanted to
that.
build a big barn.
Well, on the end where the stairway is, there's a cross just door up there too. And you went up there and then there was actually a room underneath that building. They had
Just block
parking
parking.
basement.
I think they're trying to fill it in.
They won't.
But nothing's happening down there. We got estimates.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I was in there when, but they had
Yeah.
Not everybody wants a sprawling branch on a half acre.
I have 50 workers, and my buddies and I acquired a Model A. Used to belong to Thorntown Region. We took it in there, took it all apart, took the body off of it, dropped the body down over the frame. Took the Mercury part, put the taillights on it, took the gas tank out of Mercury, put them all away. We did all this stuff.
That's for the water treatment plant.
We was out driving.
That's county.
Yeah.
Well, we-
No, I would,
And they have the other
part of
dollar.
the reason I bring it up is because
That's what I would.
whoever built this, where this figure is barn, it's probably, that's a lot of treatment.
Yeah, that's the cemetery.
Here,
Well, for the water treatment.
It is.
Your wife had a garage sale.
Okay.
But then, yeah.
But
This is wastewater.
whoever
Water
built
treatment.
that.
So I understand, so yeah, I do
It's
see.
not square, nothing. But anyway, so I've been thinking about the metal
Street right here.
crappy, so I've been thinking about reskinning it. And then the more I thought about it, I will start to run there off and just bring it down. And build a new one. Bigger. But some thought about it, I was like, well, I saw
No
it.
matter how great
Down here and stop right
East
here.
and west, where it's here.
So it's this right
This
here.
way. I read the 5 foot. It should be the water tower center.
Oh, that's the water.
The reason is you can just drive in, drive straight in.
Okay, we want to develop here.
But anyway.
Oh, that was Smith, Gary Smith beforehand.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Gary Smith was what we consolidate. Yeah. Slide down. Oh, this is for tax.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy, he really knows these lots, just like I
There's a
do.
good lot right there.
He went and built that new home back there. And when you look close, you can see the shoulders that go across. Well, then I think.
What was the purple color again?
Light industrial.
I just. How do they typically label the water treatment and wastewater?
Yeah.
Something like
No, nobody lines up to something.
Where you And then like, oh, well, it's grandfathered in. So like, now if you didn't get a permit the first time. And they're like, well, variance for our sign. The one out front of the road.
He's got that great big barn right there.
In that.
He's got 2 stories.
That one up there, I just showed you. They're really only half of your property should be in there. And if not, they're gonna start to get commercial taxes on there.
It's going the same.
Yeah.
They charge my house.
If you start doing that here, oh my God.
Yeah, you got to split it. They split it.
And that's where.
See, I don't know, I went years and years with the same thing, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
Well, imagine they do some more building at the same time, you get change some commercial instead of
Yeah.
I don't know which one of these streets is there. It's a little straight here. Grant Street, and goes right in the right. That's across the railroad. This is all railroad.
It used to be 2 small lots.
Oh, wait a minute.
They put 2 homes on. Home number
You're gonna
2
be down
straddled
over
the
here.
line.
Right here.
Now,
That's
probably
really
one straddles the line.
So you're in
They're
this.
like, that's a permit to have onto that house.
That's the recycling.
Oh, yeah.
This is
That's
where you're at.
On your neighbor's property. And they're trying to make it.
Yes. Yes.
This- here's something.
Whoever sold you.
Still green.
Well, no, he don't need that.
Right here. That one right there.
You're saying this is
So why wouldn't they go ahead?
the rear part is.
The rear part of this is my shop and it butts up against the and the front part
So that's why it's
is
really
the house that
if you go
runs
to lots and you
it's
want to do
against
something,
Pearl Street.
you're merging first.
And I think the map hanging in there's got it, somebody already did it on that map in that wall.
Two lots.
I think Kareem did it, I'm not sure.
So is this when you're marking out for a while? Yeah, correct.
So we're-
You are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause that,
You guys get all this starting to
Yeah.
Yes.
Another thing we did run into is you have your house on this lot, but you put your barn on the lot next door. And then you decide you need some money, so you sell a lot with the barn off of itself. Somebody wants to run a business in the barn.
Which state you're in, places.
Well, had they merged them, you wouldn't
Yeah,
have
but
been
like
able to do
the
that.
same,
The
just
barn
change
goes with the house. So
it.
here's how they've done
The
several of
ratios
those
for
lots,
it.
plus the barn sitting there next to the barn separate.
Buildings.
Unless you do some small businesses.
So I would say it's probably a third-party organization, because like goes through and then looks at ratios of practice.
Or an alley split, it's two lots, but you want to put something on the lot. An alley
There's a
lot
house.
has to this thing.
The only way two bedroom back and it's
You can't sell them separate.
no one's going to just make it cheaper, right? So the only way is it's
that's what I think, 8, 9.
Only for interest.
But there's several there.
that's it. That's what it takes.
Just get rid of it.
The
Best.
Yes. So, yes, in chapter 4,
Because at one time we thought about that.
in chapter 4, you'll see tiny home or tiny home development. And I think, so there's specific standards for the tiny home that are different from a residential, from a single family, and separate from like a mobile home. But the tiny home, if you wanted to build like a tiny home park and have like a bunch of tiny homes, that is regulated the same way that a mobile home park is.
That's what I thought, that's a lot.
We thought about that at first, and we're like, well, what kind
So
of-
if we're in Carmel,
That's
it's going to be. We're in Thorntown.
The realtor told me, don't build a house or you're losing. Because you're sitting by a cemetery and you're right by the city's ground. I'm like, well, you know, the cemetery don't bother me. But some people don't. I get it, so. We thought of that when we was buying.
The tiny home, that's a good.
Yeah, because if we're, you're at the annex more property because there's not enough empty lots in this town. But they have to treat it like a mobile home park instead of being able to just sell that whole thing on it like some states now are like divided off and sell little.
Postage stamp that.
Yeah, you can sell it off somebody else, you know what I mean?
I just want to. Yeah, 900 square feet.
I know that there was one person who I think wanted to annex his property. That's just,
For his property.
yeah.
I don't know the right answer.
I don't know, I haven't heard anything about the town trying, like seeking to do it.
Is that.
They're gonna have to.
I think it's a good idea. I think especially, I mean, I think they planned out so much, they planned out so much back when they did the comprehensive plan 10 years ago.
Downsized lots for.
They even were sketching out this, they had like the streets to go. I mean, they was, I feel like that's where they should be trying to.
Which way is that?
This is south.
South.
Oh, it's 75.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with going out, that, you got creeks to cross and all that retail deals and all that stuff. So that's gonna make a hard annex out there. Because we own a piece of property on Fall Road. It's out there in the town. And that's what we plan to do, put a barn main. We're just going to add it, because that's the way they are. Or north, yes, on Fall
We're
Road,
out
yeah.
here.
You're right. I said that.
We're not in town.
well, far as.
But even understanding the laws.
But that's what they want too. My barn's bigger than that, so I want a lift and everything else in the barn, and that's just not gonna work. So I'm just gonna connect it, and the top is gonna look like it's a house up there, but just gonna be storage. I mean, look, it's the same height, so. But I don't have to make it the same height, I can drop it down.
We don't have neighbors, we have 3.5 acres, so.
I got one neighbor, you know,
Yeah,
So.
I got one neighbor now across the street, he's,
and that's a different county.
yeah, he go by the county, but yeah, they got that in there. But I agree with them, that, you know, on the ranch houses, you can't do I think they should just have a maximum height, and it doesn't matter what the height of the house is. Because, you know, like you said, it's not fair if you live in a ranch house and you need a barn. You don't need your house to be there. You're not gonna build a huge barn in town, you're gonna have enough property. Unless you own 2 lots or a big lot. Not too many. There's probably only a handful of lots in this town.
Yeah, and they're like pretty
My
much,
aunt-
they're like pretty much all up here.
Yeah, my aunt down there on Pearl Street, all them, she owns all this.
That's township line road. And it goes all the way to first place. It comes down there. So we used to run John Deere 4020 with 3 wagons tied together, because we also had a farm in John Deere. Melanie's house. Corn's house.
Okay, there we go.
Place from.
Yes.
That's weird. You would have. It's going like
It was-
this.
Yeah.
Well, so that lot used to be.
Yeah, this is behind.
Yeah, well,
Her house and the
Solar
trailer.
and wind have been in place for them to know how long are they lasting, you know.
This is the fire department.
Function for 30 years, or will.
That's a.
That's golf house.
Fire department.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Well, we're
lot.
gonna have lots back here, 10 acres back here.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's
but
about that off his lawn.
There's a lot of uncertainty as well.
Truck, put the truck out there.
You just do your best.
That's what it is, you just have to hope that what you're doing
That's in the county.
is
Yeah.
gonna work for what you're
It'll be far from.
And like in Northern, they want because they have to.
Yeah.
And it makes
But
sense.
the problem with that
You get
is,
down south here, it's not
this
travel.
belongs to REMC and electric, so we lose the electric. Unless we talk them out. I don't think we will.
Just tell them water.
I do, yeah.
I'm not used to talking.
I don't know what his electric bill runs, but I'm not. Pretty substantial.
That would be.
Perfect.
And so then development, funds were 60.
Copy for program.
There was right across from.
Well, I think what'll happen next is you'll end up selling, it'll be
That's probably.
in here,
I
or
think from
this part here, real build farms out, I think. That's it.
I literally walked from there, which you never do now.
They quit.
Kid. But I mean, now it's just amazing.
I don't think they're farming anything. I know they're not farming what they need. They learn about it. I don't think they're farming.
They're not pigs, I know that. That went out long.
Yeah, I went a long time ago, but the grain farming, I don't think they're doing it. They're all.
Who's doing their,
I don't
no,
know.
they were doing all that there in front of the RV park too.
Yeah. I don't know who's doing it. Maybe.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
so you did content parcels outside of. Good job. Did you guys
The
do
old
that?
Western tried to buy that.
No, not really for us old people, but do you know who did their plan?
It's in trust, it can't be sold.
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Maybe in the domain.
I'm sure, I mean, that's probably in that document.
Well,
Read it and find it,
But there's nothing that says you can't do that. You can't say, hey, if this piece ever comes in, it should
All
be
that
residential, or you just don't have jurisdiction over it until it's.
Until it's in, yeah.
Around the corner.
So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then they even were like, this is an ideal road layout too. I was like, that's.
Yeah.
But now, that big house, you can't save it.
But really, in the scheme of things,
And
Not a lot
what's
has
his name
happened
was
since
here, his
last
house,
year.
where he's living, there were.
Yeah.
Obsolete.
Used to-
What is-
Mason Spencer,
On the town.
hardware, where
Oh,
you're at.
density residential
And
at
his house
least.
down there where he lived,
Interesting.
Mildred's
County
sister,
building and
so
so
the daughter.
Wonder what they
used
knew
Mark-
back then.
You know.
I wonder if they're just thinking because, like, I guess this is all
And,
farmland mostly. They're
That's why she moved
build
out is,
subdivisions out there.
That could be.
Yeah.
Or maybe they contemplated a sewer district or
Put
something.
gas heat in it. That was an old coal-fired furnace.
and
She put gas heat in it. And she tried to get EJ to move in there.
He said,
"To hell with
anytime
it."
you guys
He
need
moved
help.
in and died out there in that house. Fall back.
So
And he volunteered at one time. He volunteered to pay for the school out here. They called EJ Barker High School. And they found what he did.
Yeah, so that's still in it.
There were
It's
mistakes that were made that
correct.
nobody.
And
So
so
allow
Mark,
as a
Mark,
conversion
not
to
Parker, I
a
thought somebody
new
jumped down.
zoning district without
Mark.
a fee or anything. You know, you still have to go through the formal process. If you overlook something like, oh crap, this is. high
Yeah, it is.
It's not there.
It is low density, let's make it right.
Up the right side.
Um,
Well, yeah.
That's usually something you can just coordinate with staff and
Yeah. that-
kind of have
it's
that
in a trust.
policy.
And that's their grandkid.
He's somewhere else. I was chatting to him.
Yeah.
And the item that's given him the most heartburn is the 900 square foot provision.
Yeah.
And I explained to him, I said, well, you know, that's based
He would
upon
never come out and play.
data in the state that can go smaller than these homes. And he's like, well, I'd like to see that information to justify the value.
He hired a cop.
And I don't know how much farther that would go.
He went to prison for a while.
You know, I just said, there's probably a third-party organization, you know, that keeps track of this data and says, you know, makes changes, just like, you know, ASCE, Professional Society of Professional Engineers, whatever, PSP, just an organization like that.
Yeah.
And so like Devin mentioned, this is the going trend. And I know you don't have any skin in the game, but that was his saying to me, is the more information where this data come from, because he's stuck on the 400 square foot. So if that's going to change or the value, there's going to need to be some additional for that.
That's like 47 all the way down.
I don't have, it's hard to say if it makes sense or not. You know?
Yeah.
That whole thing clear to the 47 is in the trust.
Well, I mean, and it's one of those things where, because it's a recent, it's one of those things where it's like, from a, I guess from a logic standpoint, it's like, that's kind of the sense that's made.
Oh, I didn't do it.
Marcellus.
Marcellus.
No problem.
This is Nancy.
Nancy, you too, appreciate it.
BZA, you'd ask questions. This is who I was thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
If you're interested, Grumpy is looking for someone to be in the BZA for Thorntown. So where the direction is, it's going towards Boone County being our new APC. And we're going to have a representative on the APC side, but they also represent on the BZA side.
Yeah.
And that's the Board of Zoning Appeals. And we'll tell you, I know, I mean, they're doing shit like crazy. Data set. So you know that their agenda's probably going to be full. Just, I do want to throw that out.
But last year, they only met 3 times. They meet, I think they're scheduled to meet once a month. And I was told that they only met 3 times last year because they only meet for variances.
Yep.
That's the only thing they meet for. So if they don't have any variances.
If there's no variances, they don't have to meet up.
But instead of driving here, you have to go to, or go to Lebanon.
Yeah.
Lebanon courthouse. So
I don't know if it's in the courthouse or the city building, which is behind Hardee's.
yeah, somewhere, it's going to be in Lebanon.
But yeah, if you're interested, we appreciate
They
it.
meet at night or daytime.
They meet in the evening, I think, but I'm not sure what time.
I'll find out.
I was thinking it was 6 or 7 o'clock.
I think it's like 6 or something.
Okay. So you want me to hurry up and scoot from West Lafayette over there?
I'm
I can
sure-
speed down
I'm sure,
65.
yeah, but I'm sure they'll, if you needed to get there at 7.
I can speed.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't see me drive in the morning.
We'll talk to the police.
Sorry, I'm anxious to get to the BCA meeting. I gotta make it.
Yeah, they may arrest you if they don't want you there, or they may say, yes, ma'am, please go.
What are you zoning tonight?
I have a few more questions for you guys about some specific stuff.
Yes.
Here.
Okay.
Basically.
Just that far away, just.
Do we have any other business besides the zoning?
Did everyone get a good gator and digest it? We're good?
Is everyone satisfied?
Well, but if you don't have Grumpy on the map, he shouldn't pay taxes.
He's on that, well, his business isn't.
I'm not the tax collector. That has nothing to do with me.
But you can't beat the tax.
You can also call this up on IGS, but don't go by their property lines.
Yeah.
You'll be set back 20 feet on the side and 3 feet on the other.
GIS is
Oh,
difficult.
it's terrible.
All right, we're going to move to item 3. And for those of you out there, this is just us discussing the UDO loose ends. It says,
Yeah, I just have a few questions about some specific provisions that were in here that wanted to make sure we got answered. First of all, in chapter 1, find what section that is. There is
district numbers. Because it says a comment out here, DL1. To be
Oh, yeah.
determined.
yeah, so
Which page?
it is on 4.
Okay.
Page 4.
And it's
Oh, yeah.
number 4 there, property not included. Property that for whatever reason has not been specifically included within a zoning district is hereby declared to be in the blank district, except for property designated as limited access or interstate highway right of way. So this is basically like what is
The default.
the default.
If, let's say we make this zoning map and 5 years down the line, we zoom in and we realize, oops, we forgot a property for some reason. It has zoning, we just missed it on the map, there was an error. What should we call that by default as a starting point? And usually you try to assign it as your most restrictive district, and then if they want to do something else, they'll have to go through the
Rezone.
process. So it's just kind of a catch-all. What happens if we missed a property? What do we want to call it?
What's the most restricted then?
Residential.
Residential should be the most
It's all
restricted.
about existing property.
Yeah, if we missed it on the map for some reason.
All you gotta do is go to the courthouse and they give you the dimensions of the property and just color it in.
No, they don't handle zoning for you.
Yeah. Say it's a cemetery.
Oh, there
Well,
you
they're
go.
not handling zoning, but they're handling, you can get the dimensions for that purpose.
Yeah.
Yes, you can, but errors are always sometimes made. Like maybe the shading didn't come in or something.
Right.
It's just in case.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys are good with it being
Oh, yeah,
R.
that's,
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had a question in section 2. Oh, actually, sorry. That's actually a question for Deb. That's not for you guys.
Fine, be that way.
Oh, I did also have a question for you guys on chapter 2 as well, though. In chapter 2, we suggest that the official zoning map be a coverage layer that is maintained by the Boone County GIS department in coordination with the administrator. Just wanted to make sure that was okay.
oh, okay, yeah. I actually had that highlighted.
Does anyone have any problems with that?
Can you take a couple steps back and explain it a bit more in detail?
Yeah, so obviously once you adopt this map, you need to have it be hosted somewhere publicly accessible so that people can always view the map and see
And ideally it would be in a form that is easy to update when you have a rezoning. And so the suggestion here is that Boone County's GIS department already maintains the county's zoning map. And so we're proposing that they would also maybe have a layer for Thorntown's zoning.
And where is it presently held?
Right now, the zone map exists as a
Hand-drawn
as a hard copy that I think Oksana or somebody must have printed off from GIS, and so we have like a print copy, and like fortunately there hasn't been any rezonings to have it like have it be updated or anything like that. But it's literally just a PDF. So if there was an update, we would need to print a new map and replace the one that's already on the.
Administratively makes complete sense to put it. Okay.
The other beauty is it's available to the public. So if you have a developer looking for property, your map will show up with the counties, with advances, with Jamestown's. The county does not maintain Lebanon's. It does not maintain Whitestown's or Zionsville's. They each have their own GIS system and they maintain that separately. So, but you can go to their respective websites and pull up their GIS system. So.
And for Thorntown to host their own GIS website doesn't make a lot of sense. It would cost additional money.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, I think we should spend more money. I'm looking at Grumpy. Sorry, I needed to make sure I understood it fully. Thank you. It makes sense for it to be.
And even if you decide not to join the area plan commission or pull out, you can still have the county maintain that layer for you. It's not a big deal.
What's the cost if that was to happen? Would they charge us?
I don't think they would. I mean, for Jamestown, I act as their planner, and I basically sent them the map and said, hey, throw this on your GIS layer, and they did it. There was no charge for them to do it. Doesn't mean they won't
Change in the future.
get a hair up there and decide to do it later, but.
Understood.
But yeah, if that's good with everybody,
that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in chapter 3, we set a limit on the number of accessory structures allowed per lot at 2. And so what are your thoughts on that? Do you think 2 is enough? Too little?
So
too
typical
much?
accessory structure would be a garage and a shed. Is that kind of what the vision is?
Or multiple sheds, or.
Yes.
Is there a footage requirement for that?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The footprint.
It's in relation to your primary structure, I think up to 50% of the square footage of your primary.
This says 75.
75%, there you go.
And that would be cumulative. So like
Yes.
all of your accessory structures total up to 75% of your primary lots area. Or your primary buildings
So if you
area.
had 1,000 square foot house, you could have 750 square feet of accessory structures. Right now is written, we're saying that 750 could be covered in 2 accessory structures.
Right.
In some communities, there's not a limit and you get all these sheds, 10 by 10 sheds side by side and kind of becomes an eyesore at some point, but.
We had that here in town, and then they actually went and put a roof over all of them. And did close the front, so it looks like one building now.
They have a
Yeah.
That's good.
strip that has all the stuff in it, they put buildings right over where they're not supposed to.
Yes, they do, yeah.
And nobody does anything about it.
Till the utility needs to get in there and then it's chaos,
I
right?
worked for one of those utilities and tried to put cable down one of them
Yeah.
for a phone company.
When would that be a bad thing? So we're trying to keep from having.
Well, to me, it's numbers again.
Yeah.
Because if your lot is this big, your house is gonna be so big. Okay, footprint, right? There we go. Well, it's
Especially if it's.
Oh, he turned white.
in regards of 5 foot, 10 foot, and all of that, that might give you numerical pushback as to how much you can have to make 10 foot happen here and 5 foot happen there. It's just math, that's all it is. So if you're building a house, hopefully you're aware of down the road.
And I want to point out that this requirement doesn't just apply to houses; it applies to all zoning districts except industrial.
Okay.
So this also applies to a business property.
That's in 3.
Yeah, chapter 3.
Page 2.
Yeah, second page.
Okay. No. Did you highlight these or did I?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I highlighted this one too, but you did that. And I thought we also had a distance. Didn't you have a distance between the two buildings? Somewhere I read.
Oh yes. Farther up at under point 3 there, 3B.
Location. 5 feet. Within, it cannot.
5 feet of another accessory structure.
Or the
Or
primary
primary
structure,
structure.
except for a fence, because obviously
Mhm.
fences can
Okay.
join up to the
Yes, I
building.
remember seeing the restriction on the distance.
And yeah, so that two accessory structures is, like I said, it's all districts, and it applies to accessory structures that require a building permit, which you'll see on the next page. Includes fences, ponds, retaining walls that are over 3 feet tall, signs, storage containers that are temporary, accessory solar energy systems, accessory wind systems, swimming pools, and wireless communication facilities.
Marcellus, in that paragraph for the quantity of accessory structures, let's clarify that and say that's implied to mean sheds or storage.
Okay.
Because if somebody has a pool and a shed, we don't want to say, oh, you've got 2 accessory structures, you're maxed out. That
Now-
wasn't the intent.
Does that include those little quick put up sheds?
Says here.
I think we have a
They're like
here.
threshold of what
Storage
requires a permit set at.
Yeah, what I was suggesting though is
We had
this as it's
500.
written now just says
Yeah.
any 2
I think it might be 200.
structures that require building permits, which is
Okay.
Okay,
all
so
of
one of
these.
those
Yeah.
small.
And what she's saying
metal
is we really want
sheds you put
want
together
this
with
to say
Yeah,
you
if I can come in and move
we don't
it
want you to
over,
have,
we're not gonna
more than
have
2
it.
garages, more than 2 sheds.
Mhm.
What if somebody, just go back to your concept of 750 square feet, you could easily build something for a garage. It would eat that whole thing up.
You
And
sure
then-
could.
And then, a lot of these people like to have a storage shed of some
Well,
kind.
You'll need a variance at that point for your
Yeah.
area and for the quantity of structure.
Or make their garage big enough to hold whatever they want to put in the shed.
So once you get to that threshold, again, we've got the variance to say, hey, I want to do something different, come present it, more thought goes into it, more determination, et cetera, and then you can take a whole perspective and say, yeah, this makes sense.
So when somebody submits for a building permit, hopefully, and maybe I'm just dreaming here, that the person building the home would know that they're limited.
They're not gonna know.
It could be the architect or engineer.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then when you get that application, the reviewer's gonna say, hey, this regulation applies, this and this applies.
Does that
You
have to-
can't grant a permit for this, you're capped at this square footage.
Got that
So-
review process because they have to provide
Yeah.
drawings.
Yeah, they have to provide a lot
Right.
plan showing their property lines and location.
Yes.
of the-
Yeah, so either reduce the size or apply for a variance, and
Mhm.
then staff can kind of guide you on the likelihood of getting that variance or not, and, some other options.
And then the interesting thing, Deb said that once, if you start to see a lot of variances of the same thing, then it's probably time to update.
Yes.
Because the whole town mood has changed to liking whatever it is that people get here. It's good. All right.
Build with a basement, that's what I say.
Cheapest room you'll ever buy.
Unless your water table's too high, then don't build a
And
basement.
don't build a basement.
Mushrooms.
Any
other?
So you guys are good with 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 7. There is see. I don't think I highlighted this one.
I'm not finding it. Oh, yeah, I am. Page 6,
Okay, what-
drainage swales.
Six.
Oh yeah, okay, so this was,
Drainage.
yes, this was, this section is required language for covenants for subdivisions. And I didn't highlight this because there's anything in these that I had a question on. I just wanted to know if, having looked at these, if there's anything you think is maybe missing that you think should be
And which one are we looking at?
involved in the covenants. Just everything that's under 4 there.
So sometimes
Oh.
what happens is you build a new home and you have this swale. It's designed to carry water. There might be water in it. Property owner says, "Oh, there's water there. I'm filling this in. I don't want standing water in my yard." Now you've essentially jacked up the drainage for the next property owner.
Mhm.
So by putting this on the plat, we're letting folks know ahead of time, hey, these swales are here for a reason. If you fill them in, you are liable for fixing them and remedying the problem.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I would say that you don't have to consider, when we're thinking about required language that we want to appear in the covenants here, it doesn't have to just be drainage related. But I highlighted that because that was where that required language was.
Now, the town does not enforce covenants,
Right.
but it's a good thing to go ahead and review them ahead of time to make sure they don't conflict with any of your regulations or ordinances. I've seen a lot of people, they get HOA approval for their new shed. Well, my HOA didn't tell me I needed a permit, so I don't need a permit to get a shed. And we're like, nah, you still need to get that local permit, or you can't just put up a fence without, just because your HOA says you can't. So
Right.
it's kind of just extra blanket of information that we hope trickles down to the property owners
And the HOA.
and the HOA.
Yeah.
Who enforces covenants?
The HOA does. Yeah. If, and we also have language built in that says if the HOA thinks they're gonna bypass their covenants by dissolving itself, let's say they have a pond that needs to be maintained by the HOA, the town can assess the maintenance of that pond to all the property owners in the neighborhood, even though the HOA has been dissolved. So you can't absolve yourself of responsibility by just removing your HOA.
That definitely, yeah, that completely makes sense. Thank you for giving me the reality of
Well,
what
it
happens.
just,
That makes
like I
sense.
said from the beginning, they just covered everything and so simply stated.
That's the only thing I apply to is new development. right?
So far.
So
yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if that looks good, then in chapter 8, there is in the requirements for subdivisions.
Oh, yeah.
We just wanted to know if there was a particular format of drawing, size, material, paper material that we wanted to put in here as the required, like a hard copy record.
So how are records currently kept now?
3 mil vellum with gold plate stamping.
It's something kind of crazy like that. I mean,
Yeah, it used to be Mylars were the
Yeah.
traditional, but
I miss those days of red line pens and white out. I miss them.
sometimes you can just default to whatever the recorder's office requires. That's usually an easy out.
I mean, I think it makes sense that we need a paper copy for review.
Yeah.
But we need some paper copies, and then we need an electronic copy that can be stored. I mean, that's
Yes.
essentially it. So where's the list at that?
It's yeah, I was trying to find it.
Where you can just default to say whatever the administrator requires. And so as those needs change over time, you're covered.
Yeah, the only issue is I would want to let them know they need a paper copy because that's additional cost that they'll have to pay. It'd be nice for them to know that.
So the Mylar refers to like a permanent copy?
That used to be the permanent copy back in the day.
I would say the permanent's more electronic now, but I like paper because you don't need an operating system. Like paper, like papyrus reads 10,000 years ago, and it's still there. So.
Well, you've probably seen those tables where they have the wide drawers. When you pull out a drawer, it's the large.
Oh, sure, yeah. 24,
All the flat drawers,
flat files,
flat files.
or the hanging racks.
I have one of those drawers sets at home that-
For your socks?
for myself. Actually, for my wrapping paper, because it's perfect for holding a long roll of wrapping paper.
I've got a drafting table at home with the
Yeah.
arms removed. It's just a computer monitor on it.
Yeah.
I had one of those sets of drawers at school when I was teaching, and I sent it to the art teacher so she could put her different types of paper in it.
Yeah.
I
And
didn't
they have
highlight
like
it either.
the leather cover that covers everything.
So what I would require, how many sets do we need for review? We need a reviewer to review it. I think just one set of paper. Is that all? That makes sense?
How many pages? Roughly.
What's that? However, and the drawings have to be printed out to scale. I'm just trying to keep the town from, if we have an inspector who needs drawings, he's going to have
Yes.
drawings. Or we set up where he has access to electronic. That's the other form.
Yeah, so the quantity of drawings and stuff for like a building permit, that would be in your
Oh, here it is.
application.
It's
Yeah.
like
You don't
literally the
want
last
that
page of the
locked down
chapter,
in
so.
your-
Oh, gosh,
I
darn,
know
we
at
have
the
more to
county
go
level,
there.
they're moving more towards
Page 28.
electronic submittal of the building permit stuff. Even with your plan commission and BZA files, everything's coming electronically.
It'll
We
be
maintain a hard file, but we want to minimize the necessary trips to get into the office. You don't have to.
should be
Got it.
Secondary.
It also makes it easy to,
slightly different numbering is actually
a
going to be on this
resident
page.
should say, hey, can you get me the site plan for that new commercial building going in? I want to look at the parking.
There we
Or
go.
you could just email it to
29.
them and nobody-
29.
29, chapter 8.
Format, all sheets shall be formed as 18 by 24 Mylar, drawn to a convenient scale and tied to a state plan coordinates for zone control.
I don't know that I've received a
Oh, yeah.
Mylar in any of my offices for many years.
I was gonna say. That's been-
That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Stopped.
yeah.
But
At
some,
least.
I've got a county in southern Indiana still wants a Mylar, so I
Wow.
was like, all right, we'll use that as the starting language and, but like I said, you can just change that to whatever we'll say the administrator desires. If you join the area plan commission, that's gonna be whatever your town desires, and they'll make sure you get that copy,
Mhm.
get that final signature.
I like the 18 by 24 because it's
Yeah, that's manageable.
manageable and you don't need a huge table for it,
Mhm.
but you don't need a magnifying glass for it.
It depends on the size of the project though too, but thinking about the size of Thorntown,
And somebody had some that was on 18 by 24, but they 4 pages and you had to.
Yeah, I like to at least see an overall, even if
Right.
it's 18 by
It was part
24.
of Westfall Place.
Yeah.
They had them in, but that was their plot plans.
Yeah, that's pretty standard.
Yeah.
requiring a paper copy to be brought in, that doesn't make sense then, truly, correct?
Once the plat is recorded, you want a copy of that recorded plat for your records
Mhm.
here at the town
True.
to keep handy.
Paper
As
copy.
far as application purposes go.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd say like whatever's most convenient.
I mean, I'm just thinking of reviewing because we're not to the place yet where everyone has PDF.
Right.
I don't think we are. I still find pockets in paper, but yeah, I mean, electronic needs to be on there.
The nice thing about the electronic, it's 18 by 24, but you put it up there and it's a lot bigger.
It is, but if you're wanting to take any measurements off of it electronically, then you're gonna have to get a better version of Adobe or a different package if you're gonna scale it out versus a scale, your piece of paper that you can just, there's so many things I could do much faster if I just had a piece of paper. But because it's electronic, then it becomes complicated.
We'll just let the town do the PC worry about it.
Sorry.
But I mean, yeah, if you still want 18 by 24, but not Mylar, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would that, and so what you're saying, that would also be electronic, so we can reprint?
Yes.
You want me to make mountains out of molehills, but I want to make sure I understand exactly
How
what
much
it is.
time do we spend on paper here?
Now, you won't be able to print it. You'd have to go to the county recorder to print it.
Unless
Because
you
you
have
don't
a-
have the proper printer to print
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Is that it?
Well, they come down to about 2,000.
Minute print,
That's it.
that's where I go.
Minute print will do it.
Yeah.
$1 square foot.
They're relatively inexpensive. I mean, they cost what it costs.
Yeah.
You get a big set of drawings, it could be expensive.
$4.
Anything else, Marcellus?
Oh yes, one last thing in chapter 9.
Oops. Where did I put that?
Non-conformances.
We've got who else would sign the plat?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I think that comment was.
It's light, it's not super dark.
I think it was I think it was internal.
Okay.
Though, I mean, if you have thoughts on that, we can talk about it.
I know at the county, it used to be the president of the plan commission and the planning director. But because the highway department has ordinances they need to enforce outside of the zoning ordinance, the county surveyor's office has ordinances they need to enforce. They've added highway and surveyor to the signature block so that everybody can review, check, and sign off to minimize hassles and such. So that's a new ordinance that's going into effect in a couple weeks.
I think
Number 2 in chapter 9.
But you can identify whoever you want to sign
Illegal
off.
non-conforming, illegal non-conforming.
sorry, we went back to chapter 8.
Sorry. It's right before the page where you had the
Page.
Mylar. If you go one page back,
It's
you'll
27
see.
on my copy, but I think it'll be 28 on yours.
But maybe you add the president of the town council signs off on plats that occur in town as an extra set of eyes for review.
Requirements. It's under AI. See, here it is. Wait.
PC fix with the seal of PC.
Yep. So we have right now just the administrator,
Mhm.
the plan commission president, and the plan commission secretary.
Okay.
But if there's any other individuals that you think should sign the plat, we can add them. Otherwise,
So what are the scenarios she described? We've got the surveyor or the highway,
Highway surveyor.
the surveyor, they've got different ordinances. But here in town, you don't have that same.
and those individuals should be part of the TAC review process. And so
Yeah.
their comments should be addressed and picked up. So it's not like critical that they sign, but I think the point of requiring them to sign would then mean they get that last bit of approval where, you can't have, the plan commission already signed off on this and they realize, but this doesn't
Exactly.
include this.
And I will say there are a couple surveyors in the county that like to do things their way regardless of what the public officials ask for. So having those extra signatures is just the checks and balances to make sure it still happens.
So to maybe clarify a little bit, here we have 47 and 75, that's the state.
Right.
Where do they overlap with Thorntown? Do they overlap?
With regard to jurisdiction,
And codes and such and such? And this is a real generic question.
so the state has control of that right of way. Locally, you cannot control their right of way. But where their right of way meets town property, there's your point of control. So if the state, let's say, issued 14 curb cuts for a property, locally, you can say, we're only gonna give you one, so pick your favorite one. Because once you leave that right of way, now it's a town problem to deal with. But that's a very good point. So whatever happens in that right of way, you have no jurisdiction. It's where it connects to your property that you do.
I was told, don't let the state put down grass seed because it's crabgrass.
Oh,
I cut crabgrass every year in this one spot.
I think that's, you have a conversation with the district office in Crawfordsville. Say, Town of Thorntown kindly requests
That you not.
you upgrade your grass seed.
Good luck with that conversation.
I know, but at least you could make them aware.
Don't they, Crawfordsville stop at 75 on 47?
I could be wrong. I'm just
It
used to
is, and
dealing
then
with
from
that.
from 75 this way, it's been counted.
Okay, well, but state right of
Maintenance
way, state right of way, I think for this area still goes to the
Yeah.
Crawfordsville District Office. I think.
But if you guys are okay with that signature block,
Yes.
okay. Okay.
Sorry, I'm still ruminating on this one. Should we add the town board, any town board signatures to that?
President,
It's Plan Commission President, Plan Commission Secretary, and the Planning Administrator.
Yeah, no town board member or town board presidents on that list.
Right, you didn't say town board.
Yeah, not Town Council.
Town council.
no town council.
And you said that is an option?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have whoever you want sign it. I mean, you could say Clint Eastwood has to sign it.
That'd be the law.
But do you have somebody at the town who kind of oversees like the streets or drainage or has that kind of knowledge in town?
Yeah,
Or the
like if you-
drainage board.
If you want somebody outside of the Plan Commission, it would make more sense for it to be,
I can tell you every time the street's flooded.
Especially over on.
it would make more sense for it to be someone from
Drainage board.
the drainage board, somebody from
Utilities.
utilities,
Or you can have each of them.
either.
So,
Yeah.
You just want somebody who knows how to look at those plans and say, yes, this is what the town wants.
Right.
Sign, be that signature for
Let's
you.
say the town superintendent.
That's a good one.
Wanna add them? Okay.
The Earl.
The beer.
He already attends the TAC meetings, so he'll already be
Yeah.
knowledgeable about it.
Exactly.
And that's, Town Superintendent is his title.
Is that what Earl's title is, superintendent? You,
I've never heard that term before, but.
well, that's what Jack and his dad was before.
Earl, what's his
Earl.
official title, Grumpy?
Utilities superintendent? I
Well,
thought
no, he
I
doesn't.
thought,
Well, there's
When Jack
yeah, but
Hutchins
there's
was in
utility,
it-
but there's
yeah,
stuff outside the utilities.
but when Jack was it, he was the town
I
superintendent.
think that's what it is. I think it's utility superintendent. We've got Bruce is appointed to
Drainage board.
No,
No,
he's going to be on the county APC.
yeah.
So it's not adopted yet, but if we go that direction, Bruce will be on the. So would that make more sense then? No, it's already on there.
Yes.
It's already on there.
Yeah, Plan Commission.
Sorry to overthink this, but I'm trying to get it right.
The utility superintendent.
Okay.
Or they just call him the Thorntown superintendent. Can't remember.
Okay.
What do you want to oversee?
No, he'd just sign off on these drawings.
On the plats.
It's
He would review the plats to make sure it's what we want.
Right.
they're meeting his stuff. Things are all in line with what the utilities does.
I'm looking at the employee manual right
Anything
now.
wrong with it, if that's what, if he wants to do it, I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
All right.
Looks like utility superintendent is actually his title.
Okay.
Okay.
Just want to make
I
sure that
think
we.
that's what we had Moody listed as, is
Yeah.
a superintendent.
I think that would be a good signature to have on
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think so too.
Just wanted to make sure I got the title right, so we're not like saying this person who doesn't exist.
We won't look at it. Yeah, that will probably work.
Title.
I'd love to see a plaque
Very
and pictures
confusing.
of Nate Grumpy.
I thought we'd let you know.
Um,
I'm not signing anything.
okay, so that was back to chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Let's see.
I've got illegal non-conforming versus legal non-conforming highlighted.
Yeah, so some of those highlights are should have been removed at some point, but
Okay, well, I just,
I guess basically, if there's anything, so that was highlighted so that you make sure that you pay attention to that
Yeah.
section, understand the differences between the two. Then on the next page, burden of proof might be highlighted. I think
Mhm.
actually
It
on
is.
yeah. So
That's chapter.
yeah, chapter 9.
just like on page 2.
Chapter 9, page 2, number 4.
So if that looks good, are we okay with that requirement? Basically, it says that the burden of proving that your lot is a legal non-conforming, or that your lot, your use, whatever, is legally non-conforming, is on you as the property owner, as the person in the situation. You need to find the documentation that, or whatever, that proves that, yes, I'm.
How else would that be?
So without this provision, it would become a question. It would be possible for it to be the town's responsibility, at which point, if the town can't prove it, then we just have to take their word for it. Whereas this is flipping it and saying, putting it on them. It's, if you can't prove that you're a legally non-conforming use, then we can't treat you as one.
So like if you're like, well, my business has been here for 20 years. Prove that to me. Oh, well, here's my yellow pages listing from the 70s. See right here, address and everything. Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's not, those are records the town's not keeping. That's a record you would have kept.
Right.
Your limitation, you're limited on what
Right.
records you kept.
I mean, it doesn't make sense to me to go any other direction,
Yeah.
right? I
Just
mean, the burden of proof has to
reiterating
be on the property owner.
Tax forms.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if there was an opposing view, but there
No,
wasn't.
Validation of.
Yeah, absolutely. The
Business
property owner
taxes.
needs to justify.
We can eliminate the problem.
And then under the section D, non-conforming signs, there's a list there under point 2 of major changes, at which point your sign would lose its legal non-conforming status.
Okay.
So if you want to take a look at that list, and if that looks good to you.
What's the first one on that list?
Change of business entity.
A lot of communities nix that because it's as long as it's still a permitted use, they don't care if you change your name, you can utilize the sign. But if you go from commercial to maybe industrial now we may want to evaluate your sign again. So I'm just saying a lot of communities nix that first one as a threshold for bringing your sign into compliance.
I'm trying to find that section, Marcellus, where is it located?
It's on page 4, chapter 9, page 4.
I don't know, do we have compliance for the sign? You talking about?
Change of business entities on page 3, and
Right.
then the rest of it's.
So we have standards in place now that,
I don't think we have any.
That's,
This new UDO includes
This will-
it
sign
has
standards.
that. Sean McClintock would just be so excited right now. Because that was his big thing when he was on the APC, and then when he got on town council, he was wanting these sign ordinances. They've added that.
And that C where it says adding lights or illumination, isn't that a tangible thing you have to put your eyeballs on? Because there's a gazillion light bulbs, and they do wonderful things when they're put in the right place, and other light bulbs are terrible. You were talking about flood lighting, like on somebody else's property and everything.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's some detail there, you know.
Right, and that's kind of why it's on the list, is that we want to make sure that you can't just add lights to your sign without having to go through some kind of approval process.
I'm looking for chapter 9. It's not popping up in my electronic copy, and I can't find
Here,
it.
9, there.
Thank you.
I don't know if there was one there.
That's the one he sent us, chapter 9.
Okay,
So
it's at the,
yeah, I have no
Very
problem
good.
with getting rid of A. Because if somebody buys a business and they've got a sign, they just want to paint over it. But if they're gonna modify the size, the shape, lights,
Got it. All the documents I missed on. Yeah. You can't imagine any other thing, signs, you're adding it, you're changing it, needs to be reviewed.
So you,
because I thought.
you said you wanted to strike A?
yeah, it's like
Okay.
a,
Everyone else? Yeah, okay with that?
Okay.
Hold it. Sorry.
No.
What if this, okay, change it in business entity from something that's.
well, we had one here just right there across the street next to Thorntown Heating and Air. It was Miss Mess or something like that.
Mhm.
And she changed her whole thing, and it's something else, but she just repainted it.
Mhm.
And that's what
Okay.
she changed her
All
entity.
right, I hear. Thank you, Don.
yeah, some communities are real particular about their signs, and they're like, you're changing the name on your sign, you better bring everything into compliance, and that's a really strict provision that a lot of communities don't worry about, so. I always list it there in case you want to discuss it, but.
Is Zionsville picking?
Yes, they are. Well, I'll give you an example. Something happened in Greenwood is out at the interstate on 65 and Main Street. There used to be a Union 76 station, and they had the high-rise 80-foot, round
Orange ball.
76. The city put in an overlay district, and that was to bring all the signs down and architecturally make the area look a little better. Well, a Starbucks bought that property, and it still had the 76 sign. Starbucks asked for a variance to replace 76 with the Starbucks Mermaid. And that's all you see when you come out of Indy and you're looking south is this giant Starbucks halo. What was interesting is the whole panel fell a year or so ago and on a car underneath it. So I think they've replaced it, but.
Yikes.
Don't park under mermaids.
Because it's right there, Main Street's right there across the airport.
Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't shut it down because of that.
Yeah, probably that 76 station was there before the airport was, but maybe before planes were invented. I'm not sure. But yeah, staff wanted that sign to come down and the BZA said, no, let them leave it up. We want that. And you're like, oh, gosh. Okay.
So that's the headache right there. Boy, I don't know about striking that first one just based on that.
Well,
Wouldn't you like the opportunity to at least like review it? But if you're talking, I'm making it too complicated.
chances are if they're just swapping out a panel, they're not coming in for a permit, and unless somebody catches it, you're not gonna know.
Right. I hear you, Don, I agree. Can't make ordinances for absolutely every possible.
That's true.
Like anyone telling me.
Trying to eliminate some of this stuff. What about number 4 on down?
Yes, so number 4 is a requirement that if the business shuts down, then they need to remove the sign.
If it's a non-conforming.
If it's a non-conforming sign.
Non-conforming
Mhm.
And then they have 30 days after getting a written notice from the administrator to do so.
It's
good.
Plenty of time.
What's a non-conforming sign? What do you do? Make it non-conforming.
If it doesn't meet the UDO as currently written.
Yes. So
I'm sure somewhere in town, somebody has a sign that drives you nuts, but there's nothing you can do about it right now. Maybe not, I could be wrong.
let's see if I can find.
Well, when the business leaves, you expect it to take its sign with them.
Be nice if they did.
Or the
Cover
next
it.
person that's going to.
Mine drives me nuts. I gotta look at it every day.
Who's gonna bring up that motorcycle shop?
Yeah, on Pearl Street.
That's probably one violation
Yeah, there's only 5 pages on 9. Are we in 10 now?
We
That
are
was
page 4, number 4 in chapter 9.
you said that was okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, that's all I had for that's all
Closest
the
definitions.
loose ends I had, unless anybody else had anything.
What's 10?
Chapter 10 is the definitions.
You got the acronyms.
So that'll contain any of the acronyms. It'll
I'm
contain,
gonna make a rule that from now on, there'll be no acronyms used without saying what the acronym
You
means.
don't want to work for the
And if you
state.
guys want to do that, I'm gonna write out, or I'm gonna go get the book of acronyms from the military and make all of you learn them.
Well, when I told Corinne she needed to print something that had all those on there when she was clerk treasurer, and she did have them. She gave one to me and Gary Kaufman,
Yeah,
because we both like, what is that? Even though they just said it, I couldn't remember it. So, yeah, the definitions, it defines what a church is.
And it looks like that right there, maybe.
Yeah,
Yep, that's it. That's it. She had them up here in a pile.
You'd like a copy of my alarm.
I got the one chiseled in stone.
Okay,
yeah, so that was all,
that's it.
that's it from me.
Okay. He's fine. All right. That concludes the PC discussion. There is no old business. Is there any other business? Not there on the floor. Any announcements?
Just a reminder that the public hearing for this ordinance will be
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Right, rock cheer. Since we had all this stuff, let's have a motion to close.
Motion to close. 8:20
8:20.
Okay, and Gene seconded it. We have a motion and a second to close the meeting. Any discussion? I hope we don't. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Thanks for that one question.
Yeah. Hey, this is the biggest crowd we've had.
Been a while.
In a while.
Well, in this year.
Yeah. So far this year, yeah.
That's true.
I thought you were
That's it on New Year's Eve. I was telling everybody, I said, I just did all my finances. I got enough money to just make it through the end of the year.
I helped Marcellus write the UDO. I also serve as the county.
I'm left-handed, that's
I
right.
was filling in.
This has come out
Somebody
right.
just started last week, so I'm kind of training her, but I also serve as planner for Jamestown. So there's some overlap there. So my goal is
You
to
know,
bring
once
some
the first 10 minutes of the
unity to
meeting
all the
was
jurisdictions.
satisfied,
And
I
cooperation.
wasn't
and
excited.
at least have-
Was that the whole reason you don't want to sign? I mean,
Yeah, so what I'm gonna be
Title?
working on now is taking the county ordinance and we're organizing them in the same format as yours.
It's not that nice.
So that new gal.
And it's just
reading
holding the
regulations,
jaws.
she goes, no, your chapter
It's
4
just-
of county chapter 4 has the same content, maybe not the same regulations, but she knows where to look and find.
medical medicine, however you want to frame it, you're awesome.
Oh, she
Oh, yeah.
came in. She goes,
It does so much.
Surprised you guys don't work on drawings, man. You're so young.
Keep it
that
hard.
hurt. No, because that hurt when she came out from bed.
Yes.
She was just, then she pinched, that hurt. Ah, she said, okay, I'm done. I'm getting out of here. She thought I was getting.
Yeah.
Device.
We did that
Had that in high school.
They,
Once I started working on CAD.
they were very intentional about, the first 2 years, we like switched back and forth. Like one semester, all of our drawings and hand drawn.
Yeah, fees
The next
and
semester,
such.
you're drawing.
It makes sense.
So when you're out in the field,
You want to describe it, communicate.
That's why I told everybody, they said, what's the speech out of it? Well, it's simple.
You have
That's also the last time that I've seen a Mylar.
where it bypasses everybody's intelligence that an acronym is just otherwise a common word to anybody else. And the way it sounds is like, what? Now, have you seen that?
Oh, I've been places where they have thrown out these abbreviations. Well, that relate to something I'm talking about. I'm like, what's that stand for? Welcome to